Most of us were in a good mood yesterday. Thanksgiving is the official start to the holiday season, although at Uncle KC's house, the Christmas decorations have been up since Halloween. Most of us spent the day yesterday spending time with friends and family. I'm sure for most people, yesterday was a very festive day. But for the Trumper, I think it's safe to say Don Trump was not in a very good mood yesterday. Headline at Mediaite: Trump rails against seriously retarded Governor Tim Walz and Thanksgiving message. This was not a Thanksgiving message. This was a Thanksgiving tirade. The Trumper absolutely eviscerated Timmy Walz and the doofus Democrats that he calls friends. But what was interesting about this tirade? It was the response from Tim Walz, which was basically a lack of response. You know, for the better part of 10 years now, doofus Democrats and their pretend friends in the mainstream media, they have claimed that Don Trump is a liar. Of course, liar is just one of the many false adjectives they use to describe the Trumper. Fascist, Nazi, or bad. Hell, liar might be one of the nicer terms they use to describe Donald Trump. If someone is a liar, if someone is constantly telling lies about me, I am going to defend myself by exposing and disputing those lies. When I was in my 20s, I was fresh out of college. Me and this dork I was working with were applying for the same management position at the company. Now, this dude was a real dork. Hell, the rest of us in the office, we used to call him Fuck Knuckle. Going into interviews for the position with our district manager, I had a clear advantage over him. I had been with the company a lot longer. Hell, I actually trained this dork. Obviously, I failed because even after he spent a couple of weeks hanging out with Uncle KC, he was still chief geek. 24 hours before my interview, I get a call from one of my colleagues who was good friends with the district manager. They're asking me if I had posted some message in an online forum bashing the company. I said, "Why are you asking me this? Why would you think it's me?" They said the message on the forum came from your name. Do you really think I'm that stupid? Do you really think I'm dumb enough to post a negative message about the company online and then sign my name to it, especially when I'm trying to get a promotion? Long story short, I defended myself relentlessly, told him it wouldn't surprise me if Chief Geek posted this message pretending to be me, because that's the type of dude he was. The only way he could get ahead was by bringing someone else down. For most people, if someone is lying about you, you are going to defend yourself against their lies. So I'm struggling to understand why Timmy Walz, who constantly paints Donald Trump as a liar, I'm struggling to understand why Timmy and his favorite tampon are choosing to exercise their right to remain silent, while Donald Trump accuses Timmy of turning Minnesota into a Somalian dump. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the second channel in the description below. Earlier today on the second channel, talked about Erin Andrews being criticized by her former colleagues at the worldwide leader in woke, ESPN. Earlier this week, Erin Andrews had the audacity to speak the truth about the sacrifices you have to make to achieve your dreams in the media, or the sacrifices you have to make to achieve your dreams, period. Unsurprisingly, a couple of her former colleagues at ESPN had a severe allergic reaction to the truth, and they tried to make Erin Andrews feel guilty about her life of privilege. If you haven't already, click the link in the description below, subscribe to the second channel. Also, nominations still open for the upcoming 3rd annual Huge Embarrassing Failure Awards. We have had a lot of nominations come in this week. There are a handful of heavy favorites looking to earn the prestigious honor of being 2025's biggest failure. If you have someone you would like to nominate, shoot me an email, btlkc84@gmail.com. Last night, Don Trump got on Truth Social, which is an appropriate name for his social media platform because last night, Don Trump was speaking the truth. He got on Truth Social and he unleashed a tirade against Tim Walz and doofus Democrats. Check it out for yourself. I'm tired of these illegals. Most of them are on welfare. These third world countries are sending us their bums. Just look at Minnesota. What a dump. Their governor's a dumbass, and I think their House representative could be having an illegal relationship with her own brother. For starters, I think Donald Trump makes an excellent point here. The prevailing narrative throughout the mainstream media is that America is a divided country. If you based your opinion from what you see on social media, you would agree. Now, me personally, I don't think Americans are divided. That doesn't mean we agree on everything, but I do think the overwhelming majority of Americans agree on core values. I think a lot of the divide is an illusion. I think the perception of America being divided, that perception is being created. In his post, Don Trump mentioned that the burden American taxpayers are dealing with and supporting these refugees from third world countries, this burden is creating a divide in the country. Meanwhile, people from foreign countries, they are creating that divide on social media, posing as Americans. Recently, Elon Musk, he exposed all this on Twitter. He added a feature which shows the country of origin for accounts. People are now discovering that a lot of these divisive messages that appear to be coming from Americans, they're actually coming from bots in Pakistan. Obviously, Donald Trump is pissed off, and he has every reason to be. Most Americans are pissed off right now because some overweight dude with man boobs from Afghanistan took the life of a young woman who was serving her country in the National Guard. As a result of what happened in Washington, D.C. Wednesday afternoon, Donald Trump is promising to suspend all migration from third world countries permanently. He's also promising to remove anyone who is not an asset to America. Hopefully, this means if you're from Somalia and you're living on welfare, Don Trump is booking you a return ticket to Somalia on a kayak. If you're lucky, maybe he can convince the taxpayer to provide you with a paddle. Since Timmy Walz was the focus of Don's Thanksgiving tirade, you would think he would grab a tampon and use it to type out a response. If Don Trump is a liar, if Don Trump is just making shit up, wouldn't Tim Walz want to expose Donald Trump by disputing his lies? Instead of disputing Don's so-called lies, Tim Walz seems to be asking Donald Trump to make an appointment with pretend Dr. Jill Biden at Woke Memorial Hospital. Check it out for yourself. Donnie, I'm really worried about you. I made you an appointment with pretend Dr. Jill. Please get an MRI. Please get a checkup. I told her I would volunteer my hands to check your prostate if it's needed. With love, Tim. Donald Trump verbally destroys your state. Donald Trump essentially calls Minnesota a Somalian dump. And you respond by requesting that he get an MRI or release MRI results? I don't remember Tim Walz asking John Biden to get an MRI. John Biden had trouble pronouncing one-letter words. He struggled to get the sequence correctly when reciting the LGBT alphabet. Instead of refuting the points made by Don Trump, Tim Walz wants you to focus on the language, the verbiage. Look, everyone, Don said the R word. Our president is an ableist. We've got serious problems with immigration in this country. We have people from foreign countries mooching off the back of American workers. Hell, a couple of weeks ago, it was reported that taxpayers in Minnesota are one of the biggest funders of terrorism. Minnesota taxpayers were paying for a welfare program that was originally designed to help senior citizens find housing. And millions of those dollars were being sent to an alleged terrorist group in Somalia. But Tim Walz, he doesn't want to talk about that. He doesn't want to talk about issues that actually matter. Timmy would rather talk about the president calling him the R word. What happened in New York City, Democrats want the same thing to happen across the country. They don't care about immigrants. They damn sure don't care about you. The only thing Democrats care about is power. They are using immigrants, whether legal or illegal. They are using immigrants to flip voting demographics. Why do you think there has been a massive influx of mosques in Dallas, Texas? You really think dozens and dozens of Muslims from Somalia said, "Let's move to Dallas. Everything's bigger in Texas"? How do you think they got here? In Somalia, they're living in cardboard boxes. Rich people in Somalia are living in straw huts. They are digging holes in the ground to bury their doodle. You think they just woke up one morning and decided to move to Texas or Minneapolis or New York City? You know, I don't agree with everything Donald Trump does. He does and says some things that I don't agree with. But the reason he is demonized, the reason he is hated by Democrats, Donald Trump is the only one standing in the way of their fundamental transformation of America. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys tomorrow.